Hello and welcome back everyone to round 3 of the Thursday SCS, aka the Semi-Pro Cup Series. Round 3 also known as the quarterfinals. And we are joined with @Nizcast as always to give you guys some insight into the game, into the draft, into Dota, and how to make yourselves a better gamer. Here we go, Niz, into the quarterfinals, and I'm excited to see what Giant Hearts has to bring up against CNB, but for the viewers who are obviously not in the chat with us, CNB lineup is different than it was before. CNB is, as you guys have probably heard of, moved over to Pain Gaming, as they were saying, and so this is a new team for CNB, and they were originally known as Pew Pew Pew, and I think we've cast them once, Niz. That's why Paradox and a few other people sound familiar.
Yeah, I recognize names here, but I don't remember the name Pew Pew Pew.
Yeah, I mean, team name sounds familiar. Maybe we saw it in glancing by in SCS, but nonetheless, they have gotten themselves a sponsorship under CNB, which definitely means they have shown something, and I'm excited to see what they are going to show us in this game. Interesting bans, as we do see Tidehunter out this time. Usually not a early ban. I say usually, but he does pop up occasionally. Usually not banned out in the first stage.
5 seconds remaining.
Mental really changing his bans from one game to another. He is on a different side.
Yes, but maybe Nizcast, he didn't study the patch notes. And he's been studying it as they've been playing. And so that's why he finally started banning Terrorblade when the other person bans LC. Oh, I'm just kidding. These players have definitely had time to talk over the patch and what it's going to do to the game. If not with their teammates, definitely with other people. So we'll see what CNB I expect so far, actually, you know, on that note, and you probably would agree that CNB is probably so far going to bring out the most well thought out strategy from the new patch. Because they're a team, they're under a sponsorship. Not to say that Giant Hearts is less serious or anything, but they are more of just a group of players who have gotten together for this tournament today and have done very well, made themselves a quarterfinal finish. But yeah, CNB is more of a team. They're going to be in a better atmosphere to talk about the draft and what they want to do with the new patch as a team.
So as we see Mental picking up the Death Prophet, which he managed to not die on at all last game.
27 kills he was part
keep
of.
that streak going.
Well, Faceless Void makes it through.
Void.
Niz, what are your thoughts on the nerfs to him, as they were definitely meant to be?
Well, let me look him up here.
It was
not that I don't remember, but so that we can
have 100% confirmation. But I'm going to talk about Treant while you're doing that, gathering your thoughts. As Treant's Aghanims upgrade, awesome, but probably not going to see it, as sad as that is. It's basically free wards, but 4,200 gold for a Treant Protector is not that much. The rest of Treant Protector did not change, but I love him as a hero. Death Prophet, however, her spirit's very good against him. We'll see what CNB wants to do with their Treant. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Witch Doctor ban, as this is literally what Sna was doing before TI4. As they were doing the Treant Protector and then Faceless Void off, or Treant Protector Witch Doctor support combo with the Faceless Void off lane.
Yeah, so what they did with Faceless Void is they reduced the AoE of his Chronosphere. So they changed the AoE from 450 to 425. Not the biggest change, but it's still noteworthy. It's slightly smaller. That could really change the impact that Chronosphere could have on certain fights. They changed the flying vision area it provides. They almost halved it, or they more than halved it.
Nerfed it.
But the biggest thing is that it no longer disables passives. We don't have any. Well, we've got the Brewmaster passive this game, but in general, there's typically not that many heroes that are going to really that we see picked often that really have a passive that's worth disabling. Obviously, Faceless Void's the biggest one with Backtrack, but of course he's not going to be disabling himself. But I think Faceless Void is still a hero, and I think Chronosphere is still a skill, and I think it's they have their strengths, and they're going to continue to have their strengths. And no matter how much it gets changed, it's still going to have its potential. The question is there picks that are more valuable than the Void at this point? I think Void is still going to be a valuable pick, but I think there's potential to pick up other heroes, which is why we're seeing the Legion Commander banned out and stuff like that, because there's always the threat of running that in the offlane with a dual offlane or something like that. But you mentioned a little bit about the Tree Protector. Living Armor is really strong, however I think the change to Earn is going to kind of burn through any kind of Living Armor shenanigans. I'm really surprised to see that we haven't gotten a Wisp pick at all tonight yet.
I think it's because of the skill cap.
Very strong hero.
I mean, there's a lot of support players who can play it, but that also being said, there's a lot of support players who can't play it. Like, you know, I would rate myself as a below 4 Wisp player. I could play it if necessary in a competitive match, but you know, Wisp is a very high skill cap hero. No Tail plays him all the time, and that's why he's so good at him. But yeah, I agree with you. He got a lot of good buffs and could be very strong. There's also that funny glitch with Pugna where you can drain life, heal the Wisp while he's taking damage, and it'll heal the Pugna and the Wisp. It's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, 2 things before we move on, guys. First of all, if my power randomly cuts out because there's a giant thunderstorm outside, I apologize, and you can get mad at God, Kappa, and get pissed off at, you know, bringing the thunder to my house. But that being said,
if it does happen though, and you're gone for an extended period of time, I will start up my stream, which is twitch.tv/nizcast. So if he is gone for an extended period of time, let's say more than 5 minutes or something like that, then I will start up my stream. So you'll be able to
I will text Niz, and he will know the answer to that question and get you guys everything at, of course, Twitch TV/Nizcast for the 2nd time. And if you didn't hear it the 3rd time, Twitch TV/Nizcast will be where this stream is if my power gets cut. But moving on to the draft, like I said we would. Everything I completely agree with you. Of course I will not, Niz. I would never do that. What I wanted to say is derailed. Sorry. Yeah, it sounded obvious when you said it that, you know, like Faceless Void, and you know, you're talking about a little bit of Death Prophet, but even the nerf to Brewmaster's passives, they were great spells and abilities before, but that doesn't mean that they're nothing now. They're just more balanced. They're more even match. So it's going to require more skill for those heroes to achieve the same thing they got before. But Outworld Devourer, that is the 2nd time we've seen it. Definitely a strong pick we've seen multiple times. And by multiple times, I mean never. As that was kind of a really bad attempt at irony, as I worded that badly. But yeah, we have seen him once today, and I haven't seen him for like two months before that. In competitive play, very rare.
It is a hero that's going to do really well against Death Prophet. So it's interesting to see that OD's kind of working its way back into the meta.
Question.
However, I think Death Prophet's on the way out. But anyways. Your question.
You as a drafter and Giant Heart side mental over here, you've picked a Death Prophet and a Brew. You don't send Death Prophet middle to go against OD, right? You send the Brewmaster, even though he can't spam, he can still do something in that lane.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. It really depends what you're looking for. Like, obviously both those heroes have the potential to explode into the mid game. It depends which route you want to go with that. Do you then safe lane your Death Prophet? I think you'd have to, right? Like, if you put Brewmaster in the middle lane, you have to safe lane the Death Prophet. You have the potential of going aggro, which could work.
Yeah, I agree.
That could work. That could work.
And if it goes well, right? That's the beauty of aggressive tri lanes. When they go well, you're gonna win. You're gonna win the game because you're ahead 3v3. If it's a tri v tri, if it goes poorly, you're gonna be really far behind. But I really like CNB's draft. I don't want to hate on Giant Hearts. We've been watching them for a while, and of course I have a friend on the team and a few other players that I've played with / know. But CNB's draft has obvious cohesion. Giant Hearts has subtle cohesion, but nothing obvious. Like, they can push, they can gank, they can team fight well. And they can skirt the fights too with the Mirana and split push if they want to, or, you know, she obviously is a ganker with Wraith King. But CNB is going to fight you, they're going to farm, they're going to get massive, and then they're going to win the game. And they're going to dominate team fights. And that's, you know, that's the thing I see for so far in this draft personally. It's just the CNB definitely putting their strategy out there, but doing it by making their draft very strong in what it does and what they want to do. Giant Hearts is a little bit more... I don't know. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
This draft is actually very strong by Giant Hearts. You saw CNB using almost all their reserve time there on their final ban, trying to figure out what is the strongest hero, as of course Giant Hearts can go with another support that's really strong in the Jakiro, or they can still pick up a carry. And I think they're definitely going to go with the Mirana Wraith King plus X.
So you think Giant Hearts has the stronger draft right now?
Right now, yeah. I think their draft is very, very strong.
See,
I think
like
obviously
CNB.
I think CNB has potential with the OD to do a lot. I think they've got good heroes on their team.
But
I think Disruptor...
Yeah.
We both love Disruptor, right?
Glimpse, dude. That's why I'm thinking. I'm like, oh. See, I just see so much control on the side of CNB. Like, Disruptor, when put in the right hands, Treant Protector as well, they offer you so much teamfight control. And I just...
You've got a lot of control, but you got to get there. You got to stabilize at some point. And I have a feeling this Giant Hearts lineup can just run you over. What?
Well, it's a little bit different. KCAD is going to be picking up the safe lane Invoker, most likely. So we do have the Nyx as the last pick for CNB. Niz, I guess a final thought, or not final thought, but final decision before we introduce the teams as the game starts. Which draft do you like more, as we've seen all 5 heroes?
I don't know. I gotta sit and let this brew.
Okay. Well, then of course, guys, as soon as we hop into the game itself, we can introduce. And while we have this moment, I'd like to say thank you so much to all of the viewers coming out to say, you know, support CNB and stopping by our stream, guys. That's awesome. We appreciate it. If you guys enjoy our cast throughout this, really appreciate any feedback on what you guys think or anything like that. It would help us out a ton. Well, yeah, we appreciate all the attention, and we, you know, cheer on your team. It'll be an exciting game. With that being said, I'll go ahead and introduce Giant Hearts, who are probably the underdogs in this game. We have, of course, Mental on the Death Prophet, the captain of the team, picking up that middle lane. We have Zine, or Zine, the Brewmaster off lane. Definitely an interesting decision to laning so far for them. We have KCAZ, of course, that safe lane player, picking up the Invoker. We have Yoi Sotu Papa picking up the support Wraith King, and that leaves Onage. Last game he played Lina and couldn't miss more than, or could always hit more than one hero with his Lina stun. Can he hit one hero with arrow every time this game? Remains to be seen. I tried to make that hypey.
Hitting more than one.
Yeah, well, yeah, I tried to make that hypey, but you know, I failed. I'm sorry, guys. I'm caster in training. Niz, take the mic away from me and save myself. Help me save myself here.
All right, on this dire side, we have the fan favorites. We have CNB Esports. Playing the Treant Protector is C4T. I think his name is Cat, but we're just going to go with C4T because I don't want to call him the wrong thing. We've got Nyx Assassin being played by Goody. We've got Disruptor being played by Paradox. We got Mark... Oh, arrow coming out. It will miss the mark. We got Markeka.
Oh, but the Nyx stun is on actually 2 heroes, and I think this is probably going to turn into a first blood one way or the other. The Invis from the tree, stealing it up, allows them to get the first blood. Actually, Cat, or C4T, as Niz was saying, is going to net that first blood. And you were on the Void?
We have to stop.
Why do we have to stop?
Can't continue without introducing 225 on the OD. He will be in the middle lane against Mental, and immediately banishing him up there. Just getting a little bit of int in his favor.
Yeah, already. And yeah, that was a decent exchange. CNB definitely getting the most out of it, and I like... Oh, never mind, I don't like this. Paradox has gone that burst first with the... Oh, but never mind, it doesn't matter, because you know what, Zine doesn't really have anything. I was like, you know, Faceless Void could probably just leap away. But then I remember CNB has the Faceless Void. But yes, of course, CNB is on the back foot now as it's Giant Heart's turn to fire back middle lane. OD taking a lot of damage. 2 stuns used, right clicks, and a Crypt Swarm from Mental will clean up that kill. 1-2 is the scoreboard. Decent amount of action, 3 kills, 2 minutes, but CNB definitely getting more out of that. 600 gold, 2 hero deaths so far. They did lose OD in the process, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Giant Hearts definitely went with a very aggressive. Sorry, I don't want to say aggressive. Very greedy picks here. However, I do think their draft is also very aggressive. I think in the mid game is when they're really going to try to explode. However, that's when I think CNB is going to excel with their amount of control. I have a feeling that Giant Hearts' draft is a little late to capitalize on any kind of weakness that CNB's draft has. But that will remain to be seen as Ownage on top of these runes, waiting for the 2-minute rune at the bottom.
CNB not quite as much on top of it. They are zoning out Zyne. He is going to stay level 1. Haste rune controlled up by Ownage, which will mean the bounty rune spawning up in that top lane. As you cannot select runes. Today I learned as a caster. I've probably tried this every single game. Haste will be picked up by Mirana. And meanwhile, the bounty rune, Mental's going to be the one picking that up. Does give him a little bit of experience in gold, but the disrupt is there, and now Tree on the way with that boots. Probably not going to get there in time. Ownage on the other side might want to throw an arrow, chooses not to, and is going to go ahead, make his way down to bottom lane, it looks like, potentially go for a kill on Goody. But so far in the off lane, Warren is big favor to Goody. Level 3.5, getting some farm, getting some experience. Meanwhile, Zyne having a very horrible time in his off lane.
Yeah, Zyne did unfortunately die once. I don't think Goody's really in much threat of dying in this lane, as of course the supports have been roaming around, putting a lot more pressure on this OD, as I think they value the Death Prophet start much more heavily than they value the Invoker. And I think they're anticipating that Invoker will actually do relatively well against Goody 1v1. So unfortunately they are giving Goody the potential to get a little bit more experience. And Zyne of course isn't getting that advantage or that opportunity. But I think KCAS is going to get the farm that he needs to start exploiting. The thing I worry about is Goody is going to, because he's getting this XP and because he's getting a little bit of farm, he's going to have the potential to really have an impact on the map and really roam around and become a threat. With that said, though, who is he really going to pick off? He can pick off the Mirana, but beyond that, most of the heroes are pretty tanky, and they're not really just going to completely fall over, unless he gets Goody gets too far ahead with levels. A little bit of harass going on.
Mental getting chased might turn into a kill, but it doesn't look like, as he will be able to bottle up. Does grab an Invis rune, and that guarantees that he will get away. As this game is decently slowed down, or it has slowed down a decent amount since the beginning. Top, there is some action, but it looks like Brewmaster will be able to get away. A glimpse from Disruptor. Looks like that chance is decreased, as a bash guarantees that he will die.
Markeka, realizing that it could be marginal, just decide to turn on the bash.
It looks like actually OD is probably in trouble. As bash hacks are strong, but banishment is just as strong. Will the arrow hit? It doesn't look like it, as he does dodge right in front of it, and now that Disruptor is there, they might be able to fight this back. 225 taking quite a bit of damage. There's a Sunstrike from KCAS, and it's on the mark. Headshot for him. So we'll go ahead and clean that up. Big play by him, and now Cat in trouble, or Ownage in trouble, as that Tree and Armor is incredibly strong, level 2. Already blocking 40 damage every single time something tries to deal damage to him. The leap forward going to slow Mental. 232 movement speed. 1 hit, 2 hit, no bash. Maybe the third, as now 3 heroes are here for the Radiant side, and it looks like Markeka is in trouble. Taking a lot of damage. 53 HP, 7 and dead. He will fall. Multiple heroes down. Niz, how many heroes? How much death and destruction was dealt in total, and who do you think got out ahead of that? Because that was kind of all over the place, and there was a few heroes that got away alive. Like Tree and Protector didn't die there. He definitely snuck away.
I think advantage has to be the Giant Hearts there, as I think they got the upper hand of that. But I think a lot of that was just on CNB, just going a little too far. You know, really trying to put the pressure, really trying to get those kills, and then they just unfortunately overextended a little bit. But that That obviously is slightly favored in favor of Giant Hearts, but I don't think it's at all going to dictate the pace of this game, as it's not going to slow down at all.
225
Both
wants to
heroes
change over this
racing for the
rune.
rune.
It will get bottled up by Death Prophet. Just a bounty rune, though. We'll go ahead and give her some experience in gold. Mirana does get that haste rune, so no runes go to the side of CNB. If we let our gold graph and experience graph dictate where this game is, it's right in the middle. So while it might be a slight favor to Giant Hearts in Niz's book, and I tend to agree a little bit, the game is an even state, and either team could come out ahead of the laning phase. It is yet to be determined whether even any team will come out ahead in the laning phase. But with 3 heroes set up here in the bottom lane, no one is even in the area to get ganked. As Goody looking to change things up is going to rotate into the middle lane. There is that sentry ward, but it's a dire sentry ward. So Goody is aware of any potential vision, and then he knows there's not, so he's going to get ready to set up the stun. He's waiting for it to not be as obvious. He's going to go in. There's the damage, there's the stun, there's the mana burn, and there's the arrow. It's actually going to hit on Goody. Will stun opponent just for a second. There's tree armor to negate a lot of that damage. Goody is taking a lot under the tower and will actually be the one to fall as the Chronosphere from Marquetta comes in. The last second going to be able to clean up Mental here. Maybe. Mental wanding 54 HP, and now Marquetta is in trouble. Stun up by the Wraith King. Marquetta going to die here at 53 HP. Last arrow from Onage going to be able to clean that up. As 4 heroes from Gameheart come to the middle lane to assist Mental. Mental gets out alive.
I thought for sure with that rotation from Goody that Mental was just going to fall over there. But 225 throws out the ultimate, the Sanity's Eclipse, but it just wasn't enough to kill off Mental. And of course they turn around. As I did mention, the supports were making the rotation. They anticipated the fact that Goody was going to be going mid, so they went to try and protect Mental. And protect they did, as they ended up killing off Goody. And Mental managed to stay alive. And they ended up killing Void in the process as well.
Yeah, big kills. Looked like it could have been good at first, but the Void kind of overextended. Mental gonna get disrupted up in the middle lane as Wraith King is here. He's gonna throw down his own sentry ward. Even though there wasn't sentry ward in the river before, or sorry, even though there wasn't one, Mental didn't really die from that gank, and actually in the bottom lane I'm gonna miss Nyx going down. It looks like he got caught out in the bottom lane. Cold Snap as well as Arrow gonna be able to line that up. And I'm going to go ahead and say this in chat and here right now. Spectators. The fight recap, guys, unfortunately is only for people who are 2 minutes behind, aka the spectators in Dota TV. Unfortunately, there is nothing that we can use, to my knowledge, as casters for that. It is something that you get access to in Dota TV. So I wish we could have that, but we can't. Not yet. Next Vendetta might turn into
on the
something.
hunt. The sentry ward in bottom will spot him out, and actually he's lucky that he ran into that creep wave.
Yeah, 3 heroes. Definitely not a fight he wants to take. Two heroes set up in the bottom lane for CNB as they want to go ahead and defend this tower. Of course, Treant. It was easy to defend towers. We've talked about it many times, Niz, throughout today, throughout multiple points of the cast, and Treant Protector, though, with the new buffs to towers and the glyph, I think is going to be very hard for Game Hearts to take any towers. Now, if they get far enough ahead, will it even matter? Probably not. But it is something to worth note as of right now.
Arrow coming out. Wow, Cat or C4T? Oh, never mind. I was still selected on Invoker. I was going to say, he managed to get a Midas? How does this happen?
Well, we're going to see Ags on the tree in 15 minutes now. We'll not be able to get that. Mental does bottle up a DD. So, Gameheart, of course, been on that rune control for a while now. CNB, unfortunately, behind. Bounty rune does go to Treant, and, you know, Treant's one of those heroes where level 7 is so important for him because of the bonus. Sorry, not the bonus. The way that Living Armor works. It's so good at level 7 compared to level 3, 4, level 1, 2, and 3. And I don't want to take up too much time, but the way it scales, it's just the 7 instances, the 80 damage block, and the HP regen. Also for towers, you can overlap it, so you can constantly HP towers, regen towers, and you basically heal them up within a minute or two. Arrow flying out, going to be off the mark. Goody Gonna be able to get on out of the way. Good old Goody. There goes the mana burn on an Invoker. Will prevent any super aggressive pushing from them in this bottom lane as Paradox set up to maybe kill Zion. We might see a kill here. Niz go in the favor of CNB. The crowd favorites are in need of something right now as this game is slowly going in favor of Giant Hearts. Kind of stalling out right now, but definitely going in their favor overall.
Well, they are going to get the Midas finish on OD any second now, as he does have the gold for. He's just waiting for the courier. So that's gonna help them at least. Well, no, the courier is actually not going to OD. It's going up top.
Bottom tower might be contested over stun. Goody gonna be able to get the spike carapace off. There's the turnaround next stun, and actually immediately it looks like the Wraith King gets blown up, and then the glimpse is on mark or on target. But they don't have
into the sentry.
Yeah, they do have a sentry there now, and he is going to actually go ahead and get Chronosphere to get that kill cleaned up. I was going to say that they didn't have a sentry, but they did have one already down in the lane previously, so they will be able to nab that kill. Chronosphere use, maybe not necessary, maybe so, who knows?
No, it was necessary.
No,
they needed it for vision.
Okay, yeah, so they didn't have... Did they not? They did not have any sentry wards.
They didn't have any more detect beside
before.
that sentry.
Okay, so
that
yeah.
was down already.
So good
So
use
they
of
had
the
the chrono.
Chronosphere.
Yeah.
It might turn around to bite them though, as we do have the stun coming out from Wraith King onto the Faceless Void. There's the split. Clap before. Now Nick's getting chased out. There's the Sun Strike, dealing quite a bit of damage. They're focusing up with good right clicks, and a stun will allow them to clean up that kill. 3 heroes. 4 heroes for the side of CNB are still alive, however, so they will be able to defend up this middle tower for now. Mental hits level 9, gets access to Exorcism. I kind of want to know, Niz, because in your opinion, you know, I think the gold graph and experience graph, it's a little all over the place. Where do you think this game is right now? I think Game Hearts is ahead, but I don't feel like they're really that far ahead.
No, they are ahead, but like you said, they're not very far ahead. And I feel like CNB just now got the Midas on the OD. Like, that is just way later than you want to get it. And some of it was just the courier management. Like, they had the courier flying top, and then it flew bottom because, you know, Markeka was TP'd from top to bottom to make sure he would be able to get a chrono and everything. And that was just to deliver his Mask of Madness. And all the while, 225 was sitting there with gold to buy his Midas. But he couldn't get any use of the courier. There's potentially some action forming there in the middle lane. But 225 doing a good job of running up in through the river to avoid any kind of gank shenanigans that was coming out of Zine and co. As KCAS has actually made a rotation to the middle lane. Interesting what they're trying to set up here is they're most likely going to look for a Hail Mary arrow, I imagine.
Yeah, maybe, or they might just
Probably
go for the
gonna
cold
come
snap,
right now.
double forward spirit. There's 1 right click, or there's 2, 3 procs. Not going to get a 4th. There's the tree armor, Sunstrike. It is going to be enough. Of course, he is quite a few points into Exort, 4 and 4 to have that double forward spirit at level 11. Definitely the standard timing build for Exort Invokers these days. But yeah, that Sunstrike hurts like a truck, pure damage, and it is only a level 3 armor, so it only blocked 60 of that damage. Of course, doing 350, it wouldn't have even saved him even if it was the max level. Arrow almost hits on Cat as his life flashes before his eyes and his heart is racing. CNB looking to group up, get together, defend this tower. Can they do it? The Chronosphere from Markeka is on point, and there is the playpen, and there's the Static Storm. The Overgrowth is there as well. They're dealing quite a bit of damage. There's the DP from OD. Not enough ant for his ult to do much, but his right clicks are doing a lot, and Paradox has held on to that. They will be able to clean up KCAS. I think they might be able to even continue pushing forward and get Mental too. As there goes KCAS. There's the turnaround. The Glimpse not doing too much. They did say that, of course, Markeka is in trouble. Crypt Swarm does kill him as they do get a decent turnaround. And now Game Night, after that great set of exchange or plays from CNB, they're going to lose 2 heroes off the back of it. Maybe holding on to that disruption or glimpse a little bit longer. Middle tower, 18 HP. Mental going to go for the right click. Does get it before Paradox attempted the deny. I don't think he could have got the deny. Outworld Devour probably would have had to been the one to do it, but Niz. Holy hell, what great execution from CNB up until the end. Felt like they kind of fell short in their ability to clean up what they had set up.
I felt like Paradox actually used his abilities a little early, knowing that, of course, they were going to have the Overgrowth coming out on the back of the Chronosphere. I felt like he could have delayed his abilities a little longer, and that would have been of more use, as of course the kinetic field really didn't do anything because none of the heroes could move anyways.
Right, exactly. I was going to say, save the kinetic field last and use the static storm during the overgrowth.
Yeah, so it's dealing the damage, and they're still silenced, so they can't do anything when they're stuck there, as of course they're not silenced by overgrowth.
Yep.
So the static storm would be silencing them, and it also would be dealing damage to them. But then I felt like they went a little far, obviously. I thought it was weird that they actually
Arrow.
chose to...
Off the mark, as Void is just going to leap forward onto Onich. He doesn't have leap anymore. We'll go ahead and focus him down. Of course, Paradox is over there with him, and it looks like Onich was just in the wrong area near the Faceless Void farm. He wasn't, of course, entirely aware of that, but yeah, it just kind of ended up biting him in the rear as he got eaten alive by Faceless Void. Top tower falls. Third tower for Giant Hearts. It looks like to be the first tower for CNB in the middle lane.
Here.
Yeah, and Cat is set up in a good spot. You know, Zion does have the split though. There it goes. First is out. Now they're gonna, or the split is out. They are gonna just go ahead and chrono it and back out. And I think this is a decent decision from CNB. We'll see how the chase goes. As there's the playpen, gonna hold them back. Cat does get stunned up by the Wraithfire Blast. There's the glimpse to hold them back. The overgrowth as well. He hasn't gotten. Oh, never mind. He does get arrowed by the Mirana. Looks like he will die. Doesn't quite get the fade time off in time now. There's the Yules to cancel the TP from Disruptor, and 2 might fall for CNB. As unfortunately the crowd favorites are getting, well, I don't want to say wrecked because it's definitely not a wreck, but so far in the mid game, it's been a very strong set of plays coming out of Giant Hearts as a team.
Of course, Giant Hearts is ahead right now, but CNB is not out of this. I think they're actually very much in this game, and I feel like as this game progresses, it's actually going to come more and more back in their favor. Obviously, they made a little mistake that last team fight, but then they ended up getting a pick off on Onich. He was in a bad position. They did a good job of actually disengaging there. Goody going in.
Clapped onto Goody. We'll get that stun. Only hitting 1 actually. Does get used up in the air. Focus down. Goody going to fall as another collateral as they look to group up, or continue to group up. Stay grouped. Push that top T2 tower and get more off this map. But yeah, Niz, like you were saying, it's not a massive advantage, but I feel like it definitely is substantial.
Yeah, I go back a little bit to that mid-tier 1 push. They did a good job of using Chronosphere from Markeka to make sure that they could back up and kind of disengage and get away from the fight. However, they were still getting caught. I think Paradox could have easily dropped a static storm, not a static storm, a kinetic field, just to make sure that they had the time to escape. It's just a cost of a little bit of mana. Unfortunately, they didn't use that.
You mean?
Yes.
Okay, before they got, because they did use it on the other high ground, but it might have been just a little bit too late. 225 is going to get
definitely too late.
The Astral. I think there's about to be a big engagement here, and CNB needs to make something big out of it. Is Yosue 2 Papa gonna fall? There goes the Aegis Pop as the Static Storm is there to stop the split, but there is no split. They're just using the clap to deal a ton of damage. Cat taking a ton of damage in the background. Owner's gonna be able to clean him up with K-Kaz on the Invoker, and now Goody caught off between 4 Radiant Heroes. 225 throws down that Sanity's Eclipse, but it does nothing as CNB is unfortunately on the run. We'll see if they can turn this around. It doesn't look too probable as 225 gets absolutely aced. Now Split coming out very aggressive as he looks to zone back both Paradox and Goody. His team in the meantime is taking down that top T2 tower. Playpen does go down. Goody attempting to run. There's the stun. Goody is trying to get out, gets thrown up in the air by the Panda while he tries to get off that stun. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get off the final boulder. Does get stunned up. There's the armor to help hold off the damage. Zion trying to get away, but K-Kaz and team is there to back him up. The Chronosphere actually going to catch out K-Kaz as he tried to save his teammate, and this is probably going to turn into a little bit more of a trade than they wanted it to be. The blink away from K-Kaz was very well timed, and now they also have the Ghost Walk as K-Kaz on a clutch spree in that set of instances. But unfortunately, I feel like Game Hearts executed incredibly well, but again, it seems like they have this story of in the last 2 games, Niz, of executing well in these fights, but then they just try to bite off more than they can chew.
Yeah, I don't know what Zion was trying to accomplish there.
Well, and K-Kaz, why was he, multiple heroes were just farther up than they needed to be.
Well, I think K-Kaz and everyone else tried to push up to help Zion, but Zion was really deep, and frankly, he just went too far. I don't think you then go back in and try to help him when he's made that mistake and gone way too far. I think, he was dead. and you're not really going to help him there. And they almost lost KKaz there in the process, but luckily he was able to just barely escape. But yeah, that could have gone definitely much worse for Giant Hearts. However, that fight, that engagement at the tier 2 was very, very sloppy from CNB. They were all over the place there. They definitely were not working together in that team fight. And they need to tighten that up if they want to come back in this game, as they do have an execution lineup. I mean, it's not hard to get all these skills going together, but when you do, you can definitely just roll over a team in a team fight.
And they have the lineup to do it by, very, very strong AoE team fight spells, and we'll see how much more int they can get on OD before the next fight. He doesn't have too much, but he does have some to deal a decent amount of damage. Goody is going to Vendetta up 4 heroes in the bottom lane. For Giant Hearts, they look to continue to press their advantage, possibly take the final T2 on the map. That would make the map control definitely in favor of CNB. Zine does have that gem, so Goody is actually completely spot out. Goody could click on his inventory and check that, but he does get stunned up. Now the Wave Fire Blast is there as well, eating away at those charges from the living armor, and with that arrow from Onage, Goody will fall. And if you guys are fans of CNB, which you guys most likely are, you got to cheer hard for them, because they need to get their team together here and start getting stuff done, because they are starting to fall behind in these small mini engagements one by one.
That was interesting that they chose to give that bounty rune to Zine. As Yosoi Chupapa's pretty close to hitting 11 on the Wraith King. And Onage is falling a little bit behind as well, and you'd like to see him get his level 2 Moonlight Shadow.
I mean, it would be a total of 100 experience, 150 experience. Get him very close, but I think he'll get it anyways before the next fight. Not going to be too big of a deal, but definitely an interesting thing to think about as to the team's thought process and level of connectedness as far as where everyone is as a team. But here we go. Yeah, Mark Heka looking to change things around, but the arrow from Onage definitely stalling that out for now. The blink forward from Wraith King as Onage in the background is getting gone on by Goody, and it looks like Yosoi Tupapa is going to get the first kill here as Mech Kaka was thrown into the air. He is going to be able to leap away from the Storm Panda as he continues to chase. We'll get the second air thrown up in the air. Now they have the boulder to follow up. They're just going to go ahead and use the Wraith Fire Blast. There's the boulder afterwards to continue to chain stun that. He's silenced for another second. We'll get Yules up in the air. There is the Invoker combination, which is enough damage to burst him down. And you know what, guys? They're right next to a T3 tower. Mental's going to pop that Exorcism as Yosoi Tupapa is just going man mode into their base. However, he doesn't have enough mana for that ultimate. So if he does fall, he'll fall for real. This tower is going to die no matter what, though, as 225 wants to try to defend this. He force-staffs him away after getting that kill, or Goody, sorry, getting the kill in the background with Paradox on Onage. Goody going to run over, does get the arrow onto KKaz, gets mana burned up as they're dealing quite a bit of damage to this Rax. There's the Exorcism, about to take it down, 40 HP. I feel a repeat of last game as KKaz runs in, as the last person does finally get the last hit on the Rax, and they will try to get away as a team. We'll see how well they can escape as a team, as Brewmaster needs a pause, unfortunately. Niz, that'll give you time. Assuming Goody doesn't, or does catch somebody, I guess, in your opinion, you can decide if he's going to. But how do you think that fight went? Or what do you think about that fight?
Obviously, it went well for Giant Hearts, as of course they did acquire a Rax there. Goody, I was watching actually the back end of the fight, as Goody was on this little hunt, constantly chasing Onage around. And then he finally got relatively close to him, force-staffed himself in, really missed an impaled, but was able to clean up the kill.
Oh, glimpse back onto KKaz.
A good leap, but yeah, KKaz is...
Oh, what a blink from KKaz! He's going to be able to escape, going to continue to run, but you can only escape so many times from the clutches of death when there's that much inevitability surrounding you, as the entire Dire team does get him. But at the cost of what? Their melee Rax is down. And Niz, sorry, you can go ahead and finish up your thoughts.
I really would have preferred them to hopefully have gotten a glimpse back on Zine to clean up that gem, as of course the gem is going to be very, very valuable in the hands of Giant Hearts, as it will allow them to knock off a bunch of wards. And most of the wards are very dewardable, as you see. They're both not on cliffs. They're They're kind of on low ground. Even the one in the top lane, although that's the least value out of any of the ward placements, is Goody's on the hunt again, but he needs to be careful.
Yeah, he's right next to Mental. Brewmaster nowhere near right now, up the middle lane, but you know what? Goody could not kill Mental even if he wanted to. At this point in the game, multiple of the core heroes on the side of Giant Hearts could easily survive a Nyx gank. And you play Nyx quite a bit, correct, Niz?
I have. I don't play him a ton.
Yeah. So in this situation as a Nyx player, what do you think his goals are? Because he's not going to be ganking. He's not going to be killing. What do you think the Nyx needs to do? Because usually speaking, ganking is his MO.
Yeah, I think obviously he's going to be really close to it right now, but obviously picking up your Blink is going to be very, very important. Yes, you already have your 4-staff, but Blink is going to be what's really going to allow you to... Okay. That was a little scary. Blink is what's going to really allow him to make sure that he gets really good stuns with the Impale, multiple hero stuns, and that's what his team really, really needs from him right now. You could argue that he doesn't really need the Blink to set up his positioning, as of course they have Chronosphere, they have the Overgrowth, etc.
Oh, Arrow on to Faceless Void, and you know what, man, that might be the key to go. And in this game, a great Astral does save his life as the turnaround is real. Wraith King will be the first one to fall, so the Aegis Slow going to help out the Radiant side as they look to continue and focus. Onage is down in the background, but that hammer dropped by Odie, dealing a ton of damage, and now the forward from Faceless Void to the lead forward does have the Chronosphere because he bopped back. Actually, no, he survived from that Astral. What am I saying? No one has died on the side of CNB. What a great base defense using their ultimates, except for Disruptor. He gets slapped in the face, unfortunately. But even still, his glimpse is on point. Niz, what a play from CNB as a team, individually.
Huge fight. Huge fight.
What are some highlights, and what do you think about that?
Well, obviously, Markeka kind of got caught out there, getting hit by the arrow. There was a good imprisonment that came out of 225 to make sure that he wasn't going to be able to get focused and die immediately. However, Mental did a good job of immediately at the end of the imprisonment making sure that Void was silenced, because if he wasn't, he was going to get a very, very big Chronosphere. But Mental did a good job, once again, laying that silence down at the right timing. So Markeka had to kind of back up, and I think that was the moment where Giant Hearts maybe pushed forward a little bit too far, and then they got into trouble because they wanted to kill Markeka. They realized they had him silenced up. He wasn't going to be able to chrono. I think they almost tunnel visioned and said, you know what, we've got an opportunity to kill him here. And it turned out that they weren't going to be able to kill him, and then they just were a little too committed. And then, of course, you talked about it earlier, CNB's got a lot of control in their lineup, and especially big AoE teamfight control. And you just saw all those skills come out, and they were able to clean up 4 heroes, and then on the back of it, glimpse Zine back in and able to kill him and pick up the gem. So now they've got a gem of their own on Cat, who's going around doing a little bit of warding, but they've also got the gem that, of course, the Giant Hearts was carrying as well, which is now back in their fountain.
Yep. And yeah, no, I definitely I'm trying to not toot my own horn here, but the whole big AoE teamfight control thing. The thing I really want to talk about that is I just love how strong the supports scale into the late game. Disruptor, he's amazing in the mid game and the laning phase, but honestly in the late game, the ultimate makes BKB and other ability or items so important, and also makes them so valuable in how you have to use them. But then you have a hero like Treant Protector. His AoE is huge. The lockdown goes through BKB. And that's just your supports, not to mention your Void has Chronosphere. Your Nyx has Impale, and we've seen Funnick basically turn Impale into a Ravage. A Nyx player with a good game can single-handedly win a game, and then finally you have OD. And if you needed damage on top of all of that, man, OD is one hell of a hero to have it. So I like how CNB has been able to group up and do what they need to do with their lineup. The question becomes, for you and them, can they continue to And will they be able to bring it back, especially with this Roshan? As they are,
moment right here.
yeah, the arrow's going to fly out. Will miss off the mark. Roshan is picked up though, stun
right
on to Goody, and this might be a big problem as Goody actually gets a great spike carapace. Will stall out the Brewmaster Chronosphere. Decent usage as it will get both the Ownage and the Death Prophet, and now Ownage is down. Death Prophet is down, but the ultimate is still going. Or sorry, that was an Invoker that died. He will go ahead and respawn now. 2 heroes down on the side of Giant Hearts. Now we see the Brewlings getting focused down by OD as he does a ton of damage to them. Even though he doesn't do a bonus, it's still quite a bit. Makeka is going to go ahead and leap forward as they continue to chase here. Stun from Goody onto Illusions. But it looks like Game Hearts, despite the fact that they got the Roche, CNB just has an overpowering lineup right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They just dominated there. No, I was really worried as Goody was walking in and he was just kind of poking, kind of going forward, coming back, going forward, coming back, and he didn't know it, but he was actually right on the edge of a sentry ward, which is now the sentry ward's now destroyed. But he was right on the edge of the vision, so they could just barely see him going in and out, in and out, in and out. And then they actually went on him, and then, like you said, he got a really, really good spike carapace, and then he was able to force staff himself back up onto the high ground. And then, of course, the Void leapt in. Markeka got a really good Chronosphere.
KCAS going to get stunned up after a great Vendetta. Actually, no, what am I saying? The Vendetta wasn't even that skilled. It was the stun. But there's the stun from Wraith King. Right-click onto that. 225. Buyback from KCAS as he wants to try to change the situation around. A great playpen is going to get 3 heroes all jumbled up in the middle lane. Now Cat looking to set up that overgrowth. Does get a good one. Wraith King, the only one to fall, however, and a Chronosphere on the mark. Gonna hit on Mental, gonna hit on Ownage. Mental does not die though. He gets out alive. Got Goody. Actually, still alive. The wand charges are out of this world. Cat taking that meteor to the face. Marquette wants to extend and try to kill Mental, but CMB, as frustrated and confused as Mental, as Niz, as Mental gets away alive. Now Zion actually caught out in quite a few heroes from the side of CMB. It will be a 2-2 exchange. What a fight. And Mental, I know CMB has been playing out of their mind in a lot of ways. Well, no, never mind. I'm not allowed to talk as Ownage gets glimpsed back. Playpen off the mark, though. So Ownage will be able to get out alive. But yeah, Mental surviving on literally a thread of a thread twice in a row. Gets away alive. But I think CMB is boding well for the rest of this game, Miz.
Oh, that Chronosphere. Oh my god, it was so good. Like, perfectly placed by Markeka. That was incredible, that Chronosphere. And I thought for sure Mental was going to die, and he should have died. Goody actually missed an impale right at the end that would have killed Mental. But Mental was able to walk away, and then Goody and Markeka actually extended a little too far. They got picked off. But as CNB was retreating, Zion then ended up overextending a little too far as he got separated from his team once the kinetic field and the static storm came out. And he ended up falling as well. But that was crazy. And we didn't actually mention it. We did actually see, I believe, the Dagon come out.
Yeah, in that kill middle. What I was talking about, the Vendetta being good, but actually that stun was just barely there. Oh man, what a setup!
That's actually the difference between different styles of playing the hero. I think that the Blink Dagger would be more beneficial in him being able to blink and get kind of in the back and cause a bunch of chaos in a fight. But the other style of play is, well, I just need to deal more damage and I need to work around my team and work with my team rather than trying to be snaky and kind of get into the back of the fight and cause chaos. I just need more damage, and Dagon's going to give him that. So he chose to go with the Dagon route. And obviously it worked out as they were able to pick up a kill there.
On the Invoker. And Invoker is a decently high HP hero at this point. Not the easiest hero to gank. But speaking of that, Nyx.
Invoker even bought back after he died there.
Nyx as KCAS might be in trouble here. Zion in the area, there's the Dagon, there's the stun. Actually, a great Yules will allow Goody. Actually, no. I was going to say Goody might get away, but I don't think he will. Never mind, the Great Force Staff team is there to back him up, and Mental is caught in the wrong area, and what a Chronosphere is going to allow them to probably get the cleanup kill on Zion as well. Do they have detection? Yes, they do. It's on the Treant. But the blink away from Brewmaster, well executed. They did kill Mental, though, and that's a very important kill as far as this goes.
That was so crazy. Goody was playing really, really aggressive. And then, they had the opportunity to immediately jump on him. They didn't. And then they were chasing. I was like, well, now this is crazy in the other direction because, of course, Mental and Co. were kind of pushing out too far. Mental got separated from his team with, another good chrono. And he fell. So both teams is overextending a little bit. But, yeah, this game is still, it's still a relatively close one. CNB obviously has taken quite an advantage, but it still is relatively quick. You can lose team fights very, very easily in this game right now. Kaz using himself to avoid the stun from Goody.
So to Papa, just like his teammate Kaz, might be in a little bit of trouble here. Arrow is going to fly out, not entirely sure where that went. Looks like it went towards middle lane to try to hit on that Nyx. But it is going to be off the mark. Vendetta used up. Looks like he's going to try to go for Onage. Onage did not see this. It was out of his vision range. Great stun. Great Vendetta. Great Dagon. Great mana burn. Boom, boom, boom. There goes Goody. Getting another kill. Onage down. And we're going to see CNB pull themselves back into this. And Niz, while you were saying they'd grown themselves a decent advantage, I looked at the golden experience graphs, and I might be a believer in the comeback as CNB is up 7,500 gold, 1,000 experience, and now Mental gonna get Chronosphered up, and the hammer dropped by OD. 2 heroes down on the side of Giant Hearts, and it looks like CNB is about to take this game. Yoiso to Papa with a clutch blink, gonna be able to escape it, but maybe not, as the leap is there from the Faceless Void. The playpen at the last second is gonna help the disruption as well. Here comes Kaz looking to try to turn this around, pops out the Meteor, does Yule Scepter himself up into the air, but with the stun from Nyx and the fight 1 by 1, they're going to lose this game if they continue to fight like that. And honestly, CNB gonna grow that lead that I just talked about and you talked about, a big, big margin as it dips between 10 plus K.
You were talking about Giant Hearts having a lead earlier, but I said, CNB, this is still their game. And, I don't really view it as much as a comeback. Obviously, they were a little bit farther behind, but
I'm just here for that. I'm just here for the hype, Niz. Okay. I'm just here for the hype. Chronosphere
misses
a little bit miss. Yeah. Those no. Those 5 creeps getting stunned up. 225 though, gonna be joining them, taking an arrow for 5 seconds. Oh, blink forward by Zyme. They want to try to reinitiate this. The clap, the hex is quicker. Then the split. Stun is off the mark though from Nyx as the split did get off by Brewmaster, and now Tree is on the run. They do have detection to go ahead and clean this up from the Sentry Ward. So the gym will go to the side of Game Hearts, but they're going to need to get something off of this right now because that gold graph is just plunging. That experience graph is just plunging. And CNB looks to move to the semifinals of the Thursday Semi-Pro Cup Series. But Giant Hearts, my friend, is not going to go down without trying.
Not over, man. No racks are down yet.
Yeah,
I still think it is definitely CNB favored. You know what I mean.
I know. I'm just being a troll.
Favor of CNB.
Maybe a second racks here from Game Hearts, but it looks like they're getting better idea of the going ahead and going forward, and I don't think that's an entirely bad decision. They lose Onage right off the mark. They're gonna probably get away here. This could be actually really bad. 225 BKB. Throwing out those orbs, dealing tons of damage, and they've already lost Mental, they've already lost Onage, they're about to lose Kaz. A great blink will ensure his escape. Zyne trying to get away, blink away from Yosoi to Papa, but the leap from Faceless Void again and again, that slow is just so clutch, that stun is just so clutch, and man, oh man, Game Hearts is on the back foot as they pushed out across the map to try to assert themselves, to try to get something in their favor, to try to get back into this game and get control of it, but all they did was give away more.
Yeah, that was a huge opportunity for Giant Hearts there to come ahead and possibly win a team fight there. As Markeka leapt in, and he didn't get a very good Chronosphere. He only caught the Wraith King in it, I believe, and there were a bunch of heroes left outside of it, and that was kind of Giant Hearts' opportunity to really have a good fight there.
Oh, the gem never got picked up.
Oh,
oh no.
Oh no,
arrow. Hits on Cat, leap forward by Void is bigger. A 3-man Chronosphere is Kaz, Onage, and now Zyne are looking to follow their teammates into the graveyard. Zyne on the run, does disarm the Faceless Void. Mental is there to help defend. A large creep wave, however, is gunking up the operations for the Radiant in this defense. And all of the heroes for CNB are setting up to go high ground here. Split from the Brewmaster as he blinks aggressively, trying to stall this up, throwing Tree up into the air to stop one point of the initiation, but the playpen as well as the hammer from OD. Clearing up multiple heroes, 2 down. Make it 3 as running away is the Brewmaster. Now going to die. GG called by Mental. GG, well played, and what a game, guys. What a game.
That was a good game.
Nizcast, what do you think about this game before we move into the semifinals where we will watch CNB take on, I will look that up in just a second, Whoop Whoop.
That was a really good game. We saw quite a bit of overextending from both teams there. However, the CNB draft, picking up a bunch of AoE teamfight control heroes, really proved that that was what it took to win this game. You know, in that middle game, they started really winning team fights. And despite the fact that Giant Hearts had taken an advantage early, I felt like they didn't really get enough of an advantage. Brewmaster didn't create enough space. Onage, Mirana, didn't create enough space. I'm not saying that's on the players. I'm just saying the team didn't utilize them as a whole. I think they needed to do more around those heroes and really put pressure on. They did a decent job early game with the Mirana putting pressure on, but I felt something more needed to happen. You know, maybe they need to take towers down. Maybe that's an effect of the patch.
Yeah.
With the fact that it is difficult to push towers down. And of course you mentioned the Trend Protector makes it so it is very hard to push a tower. And, you know, if you don't push it from 100% to dead, it's just going to be healed up by the time you try to push it again. So,
yep.
Anyways, CNB did manage to win. And they will advance to what is now, I believe, the semifinals.
Yep, and we will be getting that lobby as soon as possible. Guys, don't go anywhere. If you're enjoying this cast, though, please follow on the Twitch below. If you enjoy watching these casts, want to watch more, check them out later at youtube.com/DotaRaptors. And finally, if you enjoy watching and listening to Nizcast, check them out at Nizcast for Twitter. But that will do it for us, guys. I'll get you the next game of action with Niz as soon as possible.